Right, we're looking through the newspapers now with Susan Holder and Emma Wolfe. Thank you very much for coming back. It's difficult to know where to start, because either we're going to talk about reform or Meghan. And, you know...
Your call, Anne.
I know. Well, thank you very much. All right, well, let's touch on reform, because I know so many people watching at the moment are so dedicated and very disappointed that the news isn't looking good at the moment.
Yeah, and not to overstate this, but it's sort of sad from every perspective, except, of course, if you're Labour, and you're probably rubbing your hands with glee.
Yeah.
But no, it does look like...
Tories, to be fair.
Yeah, and the Tories, I think, but I think Labour at the moment are really, and the Tories, you're right, really gleeful. This is this kind of deepening civil war that seems to be opening up in the party. They've only got their 5 MPs. Rupert Lowe is one of their, notable MPs, gives his salary to local causes and all of that. He seems to have had a bad falling out with Nigel Farage. He has now been reported to the police for an investigation into possible physical violence threats towards the party chairman, Zia Yusuf, and also possible allegations of bullying to 2 female members of staff. He completely refutes the allegations. He says there's absolutely nothing in it. Why was this not looked into months ago? But and I suppose Reform and the Chief Whip, Lee Anderson, of this parish, has withdrawn the whip. So Rupert Lowe will now be sitting as an independent. And, of course, they feel they need to investigate. But it does come, as James Price was saying, it does come only a few days after quite open criticism of Nigel Farage's leadership and the structure of Reform from Rupert Lowe. So that's where we are.
You see, it's interesting with all of this, because we certainly know a lot of you who get it, certainly the people watching and listening who get in touch on your say, are often very pro-reform.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people getting in touch this morning who may well be pro-reform, but are quite anti the leadership this morning, and which is interesting.
It is.
And that's a worrying dynamic for Nigel Farage.
It is. There has been criticism of his leadership. Of course, he's a really popular figure for many, but he's also quite divisive. And I think there's been other criticism. Do you remember Ben Habib talking about similar things? And I think people are starting to realise, Reform followers, Reform members are starting to look at whether it works, whether the structure, the funding, the way the party is structured is actually working, and whether that is fair or right for Nigel to almost be a one-man band when you have other talented MPs.
But all of the Reform MPs are very large characters, aren't they?
Yeah.
In their own right. They're not there by chance. They've got very big personalities, which is presumably why they won their seats.
But, a week is a long time in politics, as we know.
True.
And they've got a long way to go before they need to kind of face the public properly and find out really what people think. And so this could all be very in the dim and distant.
I'll tell you what, local elections, though, aren't so far off, and whether it would impact that or not, I don't know.
I tell you what, should we talk about Meghan Sussex?
Yes, I mean, she does give us you've got to praise her for that, haven't you? We can get a bit of light relief with Meghan, can't we? And her pretzel twiddling, which I think... Have you not seen it?
No,
she twiddles some pretzels at one point. She takes pretzels out of one bag and puts them in another, which I'm not quite sure what that helps us with. But yes, so her new With Love Meghan programme, which has been recommissioned for a second series already, probably because we keep on all talking about it, so we're playing very much the Netflix game here, and I'm as guilty as anybody because we are talking about it. But what the Sun have gone big on today is the fact that the Variety magazine, which has kind of long been someone that they thought they could probably rely on for a bit of support, the Sussexes, have railed against her, and in their review have said, With Love Meghan is made with a great deal of love, in the sense that the greatest love of all is the one that a person has for herself.
Oh, dear. Ouch.
A couple of things I noticed watching the clips that I've seen. One was the way she turned on her friend Mindy when Mindy dared to say, I don't think people know this about Meghan Markle. And she went, of course, I'm not Meghan Markle. I'm Meghan... My name is Sussex now, and it's the name I share with my children. Which shows me that she doesn't know what her name is.
Yeah, but friend Mindy said, I didn't know that, but now I know. I'll happily call you
I think
Sussex.
Mindy's not going to know much more. I think Mindy's out, isn't she?
Yeah,
I mean, you could see the fear in her eyes.
And that was the most famous person. That was the most famous guest. We were just saying a few years ago you would have had Oprah Winfrey on that. I mean, Meghan's really scraping the bottom of the barrel to get her famous friends.
Go on.
To be fair to her, she is properly allowed to be known as Meghan Sussex.
But it's not her... She claimed it was her family name. Her family name is Windsor.
Well, it's about Mountbatten Windsor,
Yeah.
isn't it?
It's the fact that she made a point of it.
And she made a point of it.
Yeah.
With,
But, you
with,
know,
with
On
a,
camera, in front of her
and
friend,
kept it in
took
the
her
edit.
down
yeah,
and kept it.
and with a
Kept it in the
smile,
edit.
but with a look of how dare you.
But, you know,
it's fun,
it is William Wales and all the rest of it. And,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
it's
but
all Harry
not,
Wales.
But he doesn't call himself William Cambridge when he was the Duke of Cambridge. Anyway, it doesn't matter. We're going into detail on that in a way. But it was the steely look she gave her. It's funny that you should say that, thinking it's not funny at all. But what I'm more disappointed with, I think, in looking at it is, I remember when she first came along, and I remember when she got married, how much I was one of those who thought, this is amazing.
Me
What a
too,
great breath of fresh air. And I remember seeing the footage of her when she was an 11-year-old girl, when she took Procter & Gamble to task. She wrote a letter to Procter & Gamble and had them on sexism, because there was a TV advert in America advertising washing up liquid, and it was saying Mothers of America. And she was like, why are you only saying the mother? Why has it got to be the mothers who do the washing up? And here, does she really think this is where she was going to end up? Back in the kitchen, showing us all how she creates all these little kind of delicacies with love to show her love to everybody. Is that the best? That really, I think she's got so much more potential than that. I find it disappointing on International Women's Day that this woman who is articulate and experienced and has done loads of charity work has put herself back in the kitchen and twiddling pretzels. I think it's a shame.
No, but there's nothing wrong with doing a cookery show if she wants to actually
If you're a cook.
But this is just silly fakery lifestyle stuff, you know, arranging fruit and then calling it a rainbow platter, which everyone else calls a fruit salad. You know, I mean, really, sprinkling lavender on your house guests' towels. I mean, let's have a little bit more than that. I think people are really objecting to the smugness, the fakery of it all.
It is fake.
You know, the kitchen, even the kitchen is not her own. This thing about, this is where Mama cooks. Well, A, it's not where Mama cooks, and B, don't refer to yourself as Mama in the third person. That is really quite close to making me feel sick.
Yeah.
But yet it
very
is-
charitable.
Good for trying.
For a second series.
Yeah, it all leaves a bad taste in the mouth, which is not what you want from a cookery and lifestyle.
No,
Nice
very
effort.
true. Oh, dear. Right, Gene Hackman.
Yeah.
Emma and his wife Betsy. I stayed up to watch it last night. It's fascinating to get this news conference where it turns out actually they both died from natural causes, but a week apart.
Yeah, really, really sad. What a sad end. They'd been married 30 years, actually. It appears that his wife, Arakawa, died a week. So around the 11th of February, she is thought to have died. She was in her 60s. She is thought to have died of... Sorry, Betsy's her first name.
Yeah.
She's thought to have died of a rare virus. I think it's called
It's a respiratory illness.
Respiratory, yeah, Hanter-pulmonary syndrome, which is a disease caused by exposure to infected rodents. And then it's thought that Gene Hackman died about a week later, on the 18th of February, around then, from quite advanced heart disease and also very advanced Alzheimer's. It may be that he wasn't able to... You know, it's not even clear whether he knew that she had died, that she passed away, or whether he was able to cope and take medication and things like that on his own.
If he had have known she'd have died, he would have done something about it. The fact is, life just seems to have carried on for him one way or another.
Well, we don't know what he was aware of.
No, we can't know that, but we can know that somebody of 95 with advanced Alzheimer's, without someone there caring for them and looking after their medication and making sure that they're OK, doesn't last very long, and that is the tragedy.
He
of
hadn't
this,
eaten,
obviously.
apparently, his stomach was
No,
empty.
because he wouldn't be aware of what he should be doing, possibly, which is terrible.
It's so lovely to hear the details of them in their local community. I think we should kind of focus on their last years rather than this really tragic and sort of quite unpleasant ending. But they were sort of, they were at the farmers' markets and he was painting and she was a classical pianist. And people in Santa Fe loved them. Really, they were part of the community.
It just makes me worry
really
that,
nice.
He had two daughters and why they didn't seem to be in touch with him and why they jumped to the conclusion straight away without having had any contact with them that they must have died from...
Carbon monoxide.
Two people dying in a short period of time in the same house of natural causes does seem the most unlikely kind of explanation at first looking, doesn't it? Now they've made up to... Thank goodness.
But to announce it as they did was very odd.
Very strange.
All right, let's change tack slightly because I want to know why we're all going to take our clothes off and...
Are you veering towards the...
And head down to Suffolk, to Lowestoft, go to the nudist
Well,
beach.
yes, forget Great Yarmouth. Lowestoft's where it's all kicking off. So it's all happening down in Norfolk. So since 1979, 1979, there's been a beach called Corton Beach, which has been popular with naturists. Now, it doesn't say it is an official... Yes, I can tell you. I'll Google it for you later. It doesn't say it's an official one. There are actually 43 official naturist beaches in the UK. And this one's been very popular, and people have gone. Apparently, if you're not a naturist nudist, whichever one it is, I don't think there's much difference between them.
Anne is googling the beach.
You're a textile.
I want to see pictures.
there is a picture. Can I show the picture?
Oh, yes.
There we go. I'll show you the picture.
Beach bums,
And I've never heard you so delighted. It's a man's bottom.
It's a long time.
But yeah,
Tell me about it.
So the row started because the parish council, of course, has put up a sign saying we don't encourage no lewd behaviour, and the naturists have all taken offence to this, saying there is no lewd behaviour, we're just naked, and there's nothing weird about that. Discuss. That is the kind of conversation.
Yeah.
I mean, if there has been anything kind of dodgy going on, then obviously that shouldn't. But just
proper naturists are always very adamant that it's not a sexual
correct,
thing.
And it has been used by both textiles and naturists since 1979, but now they have taken the sign down as well because of the outrage. But yeah, and actually some of the naturists are saying, well, at least it's put this beach, Corton Beach, on the map, so to speak.
So glasses on, Susan.
Yeah, I know, Corton Beach. I won't put my glasses on for the picture.
I'm a great believer in all of this, of just thinking, if you're not doing anyone any harm, let people get on with it. What difference does it make? You might not like the idea of going to a nudist beach yourself.
But you don't have to.
Don't go there.
No.
Don't go there.
I think for most of us, though, it's not being naked ourselves that puts us off. It's everybody else being naked. I wouldn't mind it myself. Swimming naked as well. All
that's wonderful.
That feels quite appealing. But having to deal with lots of other people naked, I'm not sure I'm keen on.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
Is that harsh?
No,
I don't want to be harsh.
It's not harsh, but it's just if that's what they want to do, let them get on with it. I haven't got a problem with that. Really, I don't want to necessarily go and join in.
No,
but I haven't got.
But then you don't have to. Nobody's making you, I suppose.
No.
It's that moment, isn't it?
It's the most wonderful stretch of beach, I will say.
It's very
I did an image search. I don't know what. I think Google's let you down there a little bit.
Well, Google has let me down. Maybe they consider the photographs of naturists lewd.
Right.